Hello everyone, this is Tip Top Gaming here today with another MTG Arena gameplay video. Now today we are playing the MTG Arena Festival Cascade event. So if you guys don't know what this event is, basically whenever you cast a spell, you get to Cascade, which basically means you reveal the top card of your library until you reveal a non-land card with converted mana cost less than the card you cast, and then you get to cast that for free. Boom. Alright, now I'm going to break down what happened. In that first game, my opponent just conceded, so I used that opportunity to explain the game to you. Now, it lets you do it on the first spell you cast every turn. So my opponent playing Leyline of Sanctity is terrifying, because if he can play spells both on his turn and my turn, that means he gets double the effect. Now, generally these games go on for longer, because both players can just get out more stuff. And I mean, that can make the games either go really quick or really long. Now, this deck was specially designed for this. So it is built around the whole Witch's Oven and the Cat. And because the Gilded Goose and Gutter Bones are the only 1-drops, and they all kind of fall within that same category of creating food to then, do that. It allows you to basically, anytime you cast a 2-drop, guarantee you're getting one of the main pieces of the deck. On top of that, whenever you cast a 3-drop, you're getting one of the main 2-parts of the deck. Now, I decided to concede because he just keeps playing flyers and flashy stuff, and so he's just going to basically outvalue me because I can't do anything. Now, this is a pretty risky hand to keep because I don't have any black mana, so I can't cast the Cauldron's Familiar. However, I do, and I don't get anything here. However, I do manage to get the third one and play Oko, which then lets me cascade into Once Upon a Time, which is pretty good. Now, I have Oko on the field. I have my hand filled a little bit more. Overall, this deck works really well. Now, I'm looking through his deck a little bit to see what he has, and I play this, and I technically should have played that land second because it just shuffled my library again. But either way, I think I made that mistake like 4 or 5 more times. Now, he plays Fires of Invention, which is kind of a scary card. It's more free casting. But at this point, it's not that big of a deal because Fires of Invention is kind of debuffed by the event because you can only cast 2 cards per turn. So the cascaded card basically has that effect. So it loses a lot of its value. Now, I get to play Vraska, which is good. Now, you should remember that you should always play your highest CMC spell first. So if you're going to play a 1-drop and a 4-drop, play your 4-drop first. Now, I use that to kill Midnight Reaper. I have 2 Witch's Ovens, and so what I'm able to do here is I'm able to basically use my cat to chip away at 2 life at a time. Now, he plays Nico Bolas, which is kind of unfortunate. Luckily, however, I have Murderous Rider in my hand. However, you'll notice I don't actually have the black mana to play that, so I have to hope to pull that. So what he does is he +1s him to make me exile something. Now, I exile one of my Witch's Ovens. Technically, I could then ping him for more damage, but at this point, that seemed like the best idea. Now, I pull Oko, which what that allows me to do is to turn the cat into a 3/3. Now, I'm also able to get the Gilded Goose out, which technically gives me my second black mana that I need, so I can theoretically use that, but instead I decided to sacrifice it and turn my cat into a 3/3. Now, the reason I do this is because, well, the ability that I really want on the cat happens in the graveyard, and when it's in the graveyard, it doesn't lose that ability. Now, what he does is he uses Ritual of Soot, I sacrifice the cat to be able to, recast it, and he concedes. So, then we move into the next game. Now, this game is actually the longest of the games. Now, this hand is pretty decent. Once Upon a Time is an amazing card, because it basically allows me to, on my opponent's turn, get out one of my 1-drops. So whether that's the Witch's Oven, the cat, whatever. So I cast it, I get Gutter Bones out, and I get to throw the thing in my hand. He, obviously shuffles his library because he doesn't have any 0 cost. And now at this point I have the Witch's Oven and the cat. So I'm already looking very, very good in this situation. I can get my engines kind of rolling and we can start to head towards winning. Now, at this point, the 0/3 is kind of being annoying because it blocks my Gutter Bones without worrying about death. And my opponent starts playing some bigger creatures. He's playing a mono green deck from its appearance. And so this guy has a 3/3, and that's kind of obnoxious. But you'll notice here that I can play the cat, and that's what I do. Now, of course, this shuffles my library. He's already at 3 mana, and I'm at basically 1 because I had a tap land. But I am now technically winning by 2 life, and so we go here. Now, I'm about to show you one of the cool powers of the cat. Now, technically, I can't be on this turn because I make this mistake, so I'll actually show it to you later. But Basically, he uses the force fight to basically kill Gutterbones, but I sacrifice it for the food. And so what I decide to do is I block it with the cat, and I guess I do get to show you it. Basically, he's an infinite trump blocker because I can always just sacrifice him for food and then, like, you know, do that. Now, he plays Questing Beast, which my 1/1 can't block, so that's really obnoxious. And, of course, he makes them fight, but I still sacrifice it, you know, to get the food out of it so I can recast it. Now, at instant speed, I put it out. Now, I really thought about blocking it, but I decided not to block it. I'm at a high enough life total, and so I decided to use my Murderous Rider to murder the 4/4, which deals 2 damage to me, but then I end up pulling another Murderous Rider from a Once Upon a Time that I pulled from Cascade. So, Once Upon a Time is a very key card, I feel like. It not only lets you get a very strong start. Okay, here you go. I blocked it, by the way, and then I sacrifice it, and then I can basically have it enter the battlefield. So it's an infinite trump blocker. Either way, Once Upon a Time allows you to either start really fast or, like, basically, oh, I cast Oko, well, now I also refilled my hand, and so it allows you to do a lot of cool stuff. Now, here I take Wicked Wolf to stop the 2/2 from attacking in. Actually, this is a really cool combo. Trail of Crumbs allows the wolf, technically Trail of Crumbs enters before the wolf, so the wolf could then gain Indestructible, or Trail of Crumbs can enter before Oko, and then therefore he can turn that into a 3/3 elk and get another creature out. So the Trail of Crumbs has a lot of strategy. Now here I accidentally sacrifice the wrong thing. I accidentally just sacrificed my wolf, and that's kind of upsetting, but guess what? I can get 2 more wolves, and these wolves are very powerful. Now he cast this Yorvo, or the Veil of Summer. I don't know why I just said Yorvo, but I get Murderous Rider, which I probably would have actually used it, but yeah. I get to create 2 wolves, which are really powerful. I mean, the wolves aren't very powerful, but you'll see why this is so cool right here. Now, normally I would flicker the cat to deal a damage to him, but you know what works even better? Sacrificing the wolves to put a counter on Garruk. Now, technically, I could ultimate Garruk right here, and he would die. But technically, I can sacrifice the second wolf he creates to not to ultimate him the turn after he comes out, and he survives. So now everything has +4/+4 in trample, which means my Murderous Rider is a 5/6 trampling lifelinker, which is crazy. And I have a ton of mana. So what do? I play the most obnoxious card in Standard, Oko, and Trail of Crumbs to then create more food, because, you know, I don't have enough food at this point. So then I'm able to turn one of the foods into a creature, and yeah, I'm able to play Witch's Oven. Then what I do is I swing with just the 5/6, because I'm kind of being cocky here. I should have attacked with everything. I don't know why I didn't. I mean, he plays Yorvo, which is kind of obnoxious, but I do have that murder spell in my hand that he can very obviously see. Now, he decides to not cast that, and he knows I'm going to murder it, so he concedes. So I get my rewards, and we move on to the next game. So, then to the next game, I start off with Once Upon a Time again, and this time I believe I'm going first. So I decided to play that, and I play Once Upon a Time. That allows me to get out Gilded Goose turn 1 while also playing a tap land, and I get the effect of Once Upon a Time giving me another Wicked Wolf. That means that turn 2, or technically his turn 1, I have Oko on the field. So that's really fun, because now I have 6 loyalty planeswalker that he has to deal with, because I can just keep controlling things. I'm able to play Trail of Breadcrumbs, which allows me to pull right into Witch's Oven. I have Cauldron Familiar in my hand, which means that I can now start this whole thing. And because I have that Trail of Crumbs, every time I sacrifice a food to bring back Cauldron Familiar, I can pay 1, or with Gilded Goose, sacrifice another food to look at the top 2 cards of my library and pick a permanent and put it in my hand. So you'll see me do that here sometime during this game, I believe. So I'm able to do this now. I shouldn't have done that again. Again, I should have cast it, because now it's going to be shuffled away. And I almost considered waiting till next turn, but I decide not to. I turn my food into a 3/3, and I attack. Now, at this point, I'm looking at what Trail of Breadcrumbs does, and I realize that I'm going to Once Upon a Time on his turn to get the Cascade trigger. So he ends up conceding, and I don't get to do that. So then we move on to the next game. So I get my reward for that. I end up getting a Sorin from an ICR. Then we go to our next game. Here, again, we start off with Once Upon a Time. So Once Upon a Time is being very key to our victories here. So I get to play that. Now, I should have played the tap land, I think, but I do get Cauldron Familiar, so I think that worked out well, that I played the full land. Now, I'm able to grab any of these, so I decided to grab, I believe, Gilded Goose, yeah. And then I played the oven, so I can keep just cooking this cat over and over again. So at his end step, I'm able to do this and just start killing him slowly. And the cat technically, can attack as well. So I'm able to create or use Gilded Goose to get another food token, which is kind of nice because it's backup for the Cauldron Familiar, because, that extra food I can use, or it's also just mana. So at this point, what he does is he gets out the Spectral Sailor and he's able to put a counter on it. So Paradise Root is actually pretty good in this situation, because the thing that comes out before it, it's more likely to have a creature on the battlefield, which is one of the issues with that card. Now, I'm able to get another Goose out on the field, and so at this point I have tons of food and food synergy. So it's interesting to see what they're going to do. They have a 2/2, which can just keep hitting me, because all I have are chump-blocking birds. They play Season of Growth, which is really obnoxious. I click Resolve, and so they keep cycling through the deck. So they don't have any more 1-drops, which is kind of surprising. But I'm able to cook the cat some more and basically, pay life and pay food to then put more cards in my hand with Trail of Breadcrumbs. So then I'm able to do this, and I play Wicked Wolf fighting... Oh, and I get Oko, actually. So I play Wicked Wolf fighting the 2/2, and I pull Oko from the Cascade, which is pretty good, turning that food into a 3/3. I attack, and yeah, so at this point, he is pretty much dead. So he takes his turn, he plays his card, and then he plays Spectral Sailor, and then concedes. So that's how I did on the event. Now, I think this deck worked really well, so I'll leave a link to the deck list in the description down below. It's a very fun kind of, I don't really care if my creatures die kind of deck. It has a lot of food synergy in there with that Trail of Breadcrumbs, especially because Trail of Breadcrumbs enters the battlefield before anything that cares about food, so therefore you can then do things right away at instant speed with it. So it works really well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe. It means a ton to me. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.